Raven is a single-seat, super-maneuverable, cross-domain, heavy fighter interceptor prototype developed by the Cornix Advanced Defense and Research Corporation for the Centauri Collective's military. It has been designed to dominate all areas of space and aerial combat, capable of long-range anti-ship strike missions, fighter-to-fighter close-quarters combat, and precision air-to-ground operations. When in the vacuum of space, the Raven's wings fold away, slightly lowering its cross-section. 4 small cooling radiators are opened, providing a small amount of additional performance to the ship's reactor core and main engines. The Raven is powered by an indigenously developed first-generation microclass fusion core and 2 X-58F Sabre combined cycle engines. These first-generation components are far less efficient than the ones developed by other nations and requires a much higher level of cooling. The Raven has 13 other radiators and exposed engine components to help mitigate this weakness. The ship's primary cooling radiators are located under retractable air brakes mounted on the top and bottom of the ship. When the fusion core is running in a low power state, the Raven can close some of its radiators for a short time to lower its thermal signature and radar detection range. The Raven has 8 combat thrusters that can pivot along the Y-axis. These thrusters are primarily used when in combat or when in need of large bursts of additional thrust. They can be used to boost the craft's roll and pitch rate or move the craft along its vertical axis, giving the craft VTOL capabilities. They also give the Raven the ability to fly backwards, both in atmosphere and in vacuum. There are 60 RCS thrusters mounted around the ship, which gives the craft full 3D movement in vacuum and limited movement control when in atmosphere. When the mission calls for an atmospheric planetary entry, the Raven must undergo a few pre-mission modifications. Heat-resistant panels are placed over the exposed engine components, the Cyclops optical targeting pod retracts into the ship, and a disposable thermal cover is placed over it. When entering an atmosphere, the wings open, then fold upwards along with the forward canards to help lower atmospheric drag. The forward combat thrusters are covered. The main engine nozzles retract slightly, and the engine's thermal covers close to further protect the engine nozzles. Once through the hottest part of atmospheric entry, the Raven enters hypersonic mode. The wings are lowered and fold back. The ram air intakes on the side of the engines open, allowing the engines to switch over to a fuel-air mix. Air intakes on the sides of the fuselage open, providing cooling to the reactor core. Unlike in space, thermal management is much less demanding in atmosphere, meaning the fusion core can be effectively cooled down by airflow from the air intakes rather than solely relying on the radiators. The front canards remain in the upwards position, providing better stability and pitch control. The rear tertiary air brakes provide roll and elevation control. This mode is optimized for low-speed subsonic stable flight. It's typically used for long-range combat air patrols, air-to-air refueling, or when taking off or landing. With the wings open, the Raven has access to its full range of control surfaces and its lowest possible stall speed. When entering combat or when super maneuverability is needed, the wings arch and the forward canards fold upwards. This greatly improves the Raven's flight performance, granting the best balance between low and high-speed maneuverability at all altitudes. The Raven's main engines can also use thrust vectoring to further increase its performance. The Raven is armed with 450mm high-velocity autocannons that fire ETC caseless shells. The autocannon typically fires a mix of high-explosive and armor-piercing rounds at 1,000 rounds per minute. The Raven has 16 medium-sized hardpoints mounted on the wings, 3 large hardpoints located on the underside of the craft, and a large utility hardpoint located on the top of the craft. The Raven's 16 medium-sized hardpoints can carry a wide range of weapons, but they are typically fitted with medium to long-range missiles. This is a DGM-100R Avenger, long-range dual-environment missile. It has folding wings for atmospheric flight and RCS thrusters for vacuum flight. This missile can engage lightly armored targets found in space, in atmosphere, or on the ground. The Raven can carry 2 NSM Conviction 2-stage nuclear anti-ship missiles. These huge smart missiles have 4 decoys that can be launched to intercept counter-missile defenses or act as jamming decoys in the final stages of an attack. Its 25 megaton warhead is enough to destroy almost any class of ship in a single hit. For long-range operations, the Raven can be mounted with 2 hydrogen-fuel drop tanks. These drop tanks can only be used in vacuum and must be mounted in 0G due to their size. Each fuel tank has RCS thrusters that work in conjunction with the ones on the Ravens to help offset the weight of the tanks on the ship. The large centerline hardpoint can also carry the massive Retribution, a 57mm rotary autocannon. This heavy autocannon fires a mix of high explosive and armor-piercing ETC caseless shells and can only be used in vacuum. It is designed to engage capital ships, ranging from frigates to light carriers and destroyers. The gun has a fire rate of 4,000 rounds per minute and carries 4,000 rounds of ammunition split between the 2 magazines mounted either side of the gun. Decoy ports are located to the aft of the craft, above and below the hull. There are 12 small decoy ports that can fire a mix of thermal and electronic decoys. The 4 larger decoy ports can fire advanced dual-purpose programmable decoys, able to match 1/3 of the Raven's thermal and electronic output. Unlike many ships of its class, the Raven has been built around a primitive computer system in order to counter the threat from more advanced jamming and hacking systems found on most UNE ships. The Raven systems are run on separate standalone unnetworked systems or have hydraulic or mechanical backups. In the event of a hacking attack, the pilot can take manual control over the system, while the system's computer is reset or repaired. In order to offer comfort and greater endurance to the pilot during long missions, the Raven has a small sleeping space located below the main control panel in the footwell. The flight pedals tuck away into the floor, giving the pilot the ability to stretch out and sleep in a more comfortable position, or in an emergency, put themselves into an induced life-supported coma. The Raven is a state-of-the-art combat vessel, capable of engaging any threat in the combat theatre. It provides the Centauri Collective with unparalleled combat capabilities and will likely be the key to victory in any future war.